For a century, high-density, reliable fossil fuels provided the primary bedrock driving an unbroken trajectory of civilizational growth. The physics of this power relies on baseload generation. Coal and gas plants deliver a constant, dispatchable energy signal that acts as the steady heartbeat of the entire industrial grid. This chart highlights the core physical challenge of the 2026 energy handshake. Passing the baton to renewables requires entirely different infrastructural soil compared to the dispatchable flow of fossil fuels. Forcing erratic pulses of wind and solar through a legacy system built for steady output generates systemic friction. The old infrastructure cannot handle the volatile pressure. We are currently seeing a severe global imbalance between surging electricity demand and actual dispatchability. Moving toward a decentralized model without a hardened storage plan creates an entropy debt that most nations cannot currently settle. Many states are mismanaging this delicate handover. By increasing reliance on weather-dependent energy without equivalent baseload support, they are leaving their industrial capacities fully exposed to sudden supply disruptions. This transition is a test of the structural viability of modern energy systems. If the 2026 handshake slips, the resulting friction risks a cascading global power shutdown. Europe provides a high-resolution warning. Several states attempted a rapid leap into the future by prematurely decommissioning their domestic legacy energy assets before a resilient renewable foundation was built. They built a hollow grid. By dismantling their nuclear and coal baseline pillars, they prioritized ideological purity over the functional integrity of their systems. This created a severe maintenance gap in their sovereignty. Energy security became entirely subordinate to unpredictable weather patterns and the whims of foreign geopolitical powers. The vulnerability translated directly into physical and economic damage. The resulting loss of steady-state power triggered sudden price shocks, forced immediate industrial slowdowns, and crippled domestic growth. Relying on a single external interface for critical fuel acts as a Trojan horse. You invite a global guest into your system only to discover they possess the leverage to shut down your sovereign economy at any moment. During the height of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Western powers applied intense diplomatic pressure on global oil markets, attempting to dictate strict price caps and enforce broad sanctions. They expected Bharat to fall in line, effectively demanding that a developing nation of 1.4 billion people freeze its own industrial pulse to subsidize a foreign geopolitical agenda. Bharat responded by exercising strict strategic autonomy. The state issued an absolute refusal to let its energy destiny and the welfare of its citizens be dictated by external boards. Instead of yielding, the government prioritized its indigenous core. To keep the domestic economy running, Bharat continued and actively expanded its procurement of Russian oil. This decision successfully bypassed the proposed price caps. Bharat dictated its own procurement terms, refusing to let its industrial growth be throttled by shifts in foreign policy. The state prioritized the energy security of its own citizens. It proved that a nation's first duty is to keep the lights on in its own house, even during global geopolitical turmoil. To permanently resolve the friction of the upcoming transition, Bharat is deploying a calculated multi-track execution strategy. The first track involves the unapologetic maintenance of robust domestic coal assets. These facilities provide the unyielding baseload power necessary to keep the system stable. Simultaneously, the second track executes one of the world's most aggressive expansions of solar infrastructure to build out the soil for the future grid. This dual approach ensures that legacy reliability firmly supports future innovation. Together, these tracks forge a sovereign shield designed to prevent any systemic shutdown during the transition. By securing the indigenous core while building for the future, Bharat manages the total logic of its grid, rather than remaining dependent on external providers. While the state builds the overarching shield, this strategy scales all the way down from macro infrastructure to the micro level of the individual citizen. Through interface empowerment, everyday people are making the transition from being entirely passive consumers of electricity into active prosumers. The physical mechanics are straightforward. By installing rooftop solar panels and tying into decentralized microgrids, the common man gains the capability to generate, store, and sell their own excess power. Independent generation removes the home from the inefficiencies of distant, centralized utility bureaucracies. This ensures the household remains functional even when the broader system is under stress. This decentralization provides the ultimate failsafe. If the global power handshake slips, the independent local hearth always remains firmly lit. Energy is the absolute bedrock of sovereignty. A nation that cannot power itself cannot protect itself. By hardening the national grid, securing strategic oil lanes, and empowering citizens as active producers, a state guarantees its own survival and steps forward as a sovereign energy host.